Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project is we're going to be installing a sump pump and a backup sump pump into this pit that's already existing in the floor, but there was no pump in there. All right, so what we are going to do, just so you know, we're going to pick up a 12-volt backup pump that runs off of a 12-volt marine battery, and we're also going to have a standard regular sump pump that plugs into a traditional home outlet. All right, so you can see that the water level has come up fairly high by that rust there. Now we laid everything out on the floor. We took our primary pump and our backup secondary pump and we laid them out here as well. Now we have an 1.5-inch connection on both of them, so we're going to put our primary pump down. We're going to put a piece of extension pipe through the top of it, and we're going to put the primary and the secondary together onto one pipe, one 1.5-inch pipe. This is everything we had. This is the 12-volt marine battery that we're going to use to run it as a backup, just in case the power goes down. This is the cover for the box that is going to be fitting into, just so we have someplace on the side to store it. And it comes with a charging station as well. It constantly keeps the battery in a full state of charge for just in case. Now here we're going to be connecting our sump pump into this drain right over here. We have our regular plug up on the top here, so we can plug our plug into it for the primary pump, and we'll set the secondary backup pump over in the corner inside the box. All right, so let's put this all together, and I'll show you what it looks like when we put it in the sump. Okay, now after we put our pump down into the pit itself, you can see we have our primary pump on the bottom. We put some bricks underneath the bottom of it to give it a little elevation so it's not sitting in the dirt. We then put our secondary pump according to the directions that come with the primary and the secondary pump, how to connect it up. We put our float assembly up on the pipe, on that 1.5-inch pipe that we put in there. We installed a valve. In case we ever had to isolate the system, we can do that. We brought it up and over to the top and secured it in place and connected into the drain. We then put our backup battery off to the one corner here. We have our pump, our battery is in the plastic case, and then it's constantly charging, and there's a little indicator light on the back of it that shows you when it's charging. Now, just in case this was to start beeping, if the primary pump failed and the secondary pump came on, you can silence the alarm which rings, because if the secondary pump was to turn on, it starts to ring like a very high-pitched noise. So you can silence it while you need to do whatever you have to do. And of course, we plug it into our regular household outlet, bring it down so that we can keep that battery fully charged, so that way when the power goes down, we're ready to go. You can see that we put our cables along the pipe and we zip tied everything up so it's nice and neat. And now we're going to go and we're going to fill the pit up, and we're going to make sure that everything works properly. But the height is adjusted on both. I do want to point this out to you too. There's no check valve on this one because this particular pump comes with the check valve built in the pump itself. But if your pump didn't have the check valve, then you would need to put a check valve in the line that pumps the water up and away from the pit. All right, so we zip tied everything together, and that's it. We're ready, just about to test it now. And the way we're going to test it is we're just going to reach down into the pit, and we're going to take our float assembly and we're going to lift it up just a little bit to simulate if the water was to rise. It'll actually turn the pump on and pump the water out. And as you can see, that secondary pump works perfectly. Our primary is down on the bottom right there. And everything is zip tied nice and tight to the pipe, so nothing is laying around or moving around. It's nice and tight. Over here is where our cables run over, and this is where our box is sitting on the side. So that way, if it gets damp in here, it's not going to damage the battery by sitting on the cold concrete floor. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our big box store. We're going to pick up a cover that goes over the top of this. Now, it's personal preference what kind you want to put on there. I just picked up a stock one that they have at the big box store, but you can cut a piece of plexiglass if you choose to and put that over the top as well. As you can see, all the piping has been secured up, so it's not going to vibrate when it does turn on. and the stationary. And here is the backup pump that I purchased for this particular job. It's a Liberty pump. It's, as you can see, it's a 441 is the model. It comes with everything except the battery. The battery they do not sell. You'll need to pick that up at a marine supply store or one of the big box stores. Now this is the other pump that I put in there. This is our primary pump, and that's our secondary pump. And the secondary pump comes with the charging station as well as the box that the battery sits in to contain everything in one particular spot. All right, so now that we went to our big box store and we picked up the cover that we chose to put down over here, as I said, this is the one that I chose. You can get just a piece of plexiglass if you choose, and you can cut the plexiglass for a tighter fit around it. This one, as you can see, it's actually cut through, so that way you can twist it and you can slide it over the existing pipe and wiring that's in the floor. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull that plastic off there, and we'll put it down, and we'll seal this up so that way it's a sealed pit. Now this does come with screws to screw it down to the floor if you choose to do that. I am not going to do it because there was no screws in there and I don't want to drill into it. I'm just going to leave this laying on top of it. It comes with the screws as well as the washers for the floor itself. Now if you choose to do it, you can just use a masonry bit if you're in the concrete floor and screw down into the floor and put them in there. But as I said, I'm not going to do it. All right, so we're going to open it up now, and we're going to take this and we're going to bring it around, and we'll put it around the pipe, and we'll slide it down in there. Let's see if we can get that paper off. Doesn't look like it. It's on there pretty good. So we're just going to choose to leave it on there and not worry about it. Good enough. All right, so we take our cover and we just twist it a little bit sideways. I'm going to need two hands to do this. I'm going to have to twist one side and push it around like this. Maybe not. Let's see. Okay, and then we put our wires up and get them out of there as well. And now we can turn the cover until it covers up our pit. And that's it. And as I said, you can get plexiglass if you choose to make it a tighter fit. But this is more than adequate for this particular job. Now, of course, if you chose to put these screws in, you could drill them and you could put mollies down in the ground or some kind of a piece that you can anchor this down to, but we're not going to use these, as I said. We're just going to leave it sit here just like this.